With Dirt Bike Test, and today we're going to do a short video on this bike. And why this? Well, this bike just got done doing a full peninsula run, basically doing the pre-run for the Nora Mexican 1000. We were verifying the road books, hence there used to be a road book here and a tracker mounted here and some other stuff. But I just thought I'd give you some insight onto, I just got done washing it, and some insight onto what it takes if you start with a nice, well-prepped bike, like what may go wrong if you ride normally. So on my bikes, a lot of times this tells me when I changed the oil last, it had about, I don't know, 8 hours on the oil and it still looked really good. So I didn't change it before I left. And some people would say that's ridiculous, but I know what good oil looks like and it was still good. So I'm gonna tell you a couple other things. So during the whole time, we had one problem between the two bikes. The other Husky that's out there you can't see too well was on it the whole time, along with one factory Honda rally bike ridden by Ricky Brabeck, as a matter of fact. So here's what we have. The only problem I had is I was testing some prototype stuff in a rear wheel, and I had a failure. And so as you can see, here's our failures. And so number one was that had a failure. And then I went to put this on, which I did, and I rode it for a day. Not my wheel. This is a wheel I got from somebody else, and it had a bad wheel bearing. So then we had to borrow some parts out of this wheel. Luckily we had it. And this was Mike's wheel on the Husky. And then shortly after that, Mike started experiencing some problems with, as you can see, some spokes. So we were literally robbing this wheel to get this one and the other one done. So this is the only part I changed on the bike. The other thing I did was I switched an air filter one day, and I'll kind of come around here to the other side and show you. I washed the bike and actually pulled the air filter cover off to clean kind of down around here on the bottom and here. And one of the things I run, and I'm gonna show this in the video, is I run water washable air filter oil. It's called Eco Oil by Rock Oil, and I'm going to show you washing this filter, but I'm going to pull this filter out, and I sprayed it with a little bit of water. Everybody's worried about, like, if that stuff washes out with water, isn't it going to, look at how clean that is in there. Clean, a little bit of oil from the blow-by, but oh, what's that? Shoot, I should take that out. I could get more power. Nah, it was fine. But anyways, so here's my air filter. And down here, that's the oil that's blowing out of the overflow, because in Baja, you are hauling ass sometimes, and it tends to do that. But that's what the air box looks like. Like I said, I kind of cleaned it around because I like to have it sort of clean down here with the pressure washer to get the residue out, but you can see it's still in there. But I don't like blasting straight into the filter. But anyways, only failure was rear wheel, and that was on me because I was testing something, and I tested it to failure like I was supposed to. But you look around the rest of this bike, and it's just nice and well set up. I have a Seat Concepts, big, thick seat. Oh, here's the other gem on here. These nice, they're actually Pro Grip foam grips, are great for long distance stuff. I have the IMS big tank, the big one. It's about 4.5 gallons. As you can see, I have it marked here on the side so I can see where I'm at. And we were getting well over 200, maybe 250 kilometers. So close, it's getting close to 200 miles, and believe it or not, on just that tank. Of course, because I'm running essentially completely stock. That's all stock. The ECU is stock. Even has the oxygen sensor. The only really other damage that happened is I got this nice big ding in the header from a rock flying up at some point, and I gave it a good hit. But other than that, even, believe it or not, even the stock tail is still in here and intact. Even with this bigger tire, you can see where it's running up here, but it's, you know, I'm not smashing this thing, and it's not catching on anything. It's still intact, which is a lot better than the previous version for sure. So that is what this bike looks like after it's been washed. It really wasn't even that dirty because it was mostly dry and dusty, but you get a look at what we've done to this bike. I wanted to put larger foot pegs on it, but I didn't have any in the new KTM style. Oh, the other thing that got loose that I noticed right at the end was this little bolt here. It had come a little bit loose, but I'm gonna go ahead and change the oil now and get my regular wheel back on there and do the other stuff. But there's a look. I had these things packed with my tools and spare parts. Luckily I had a spare front tube in there, and we'll see what's up next. So here's the air filter. I just pulled it off the cage because I took 2 hands for that, but that's the inside. And when you look at this, you can see the oil spray, and I'm gonna show you what that results from and how it's not really an issue. But that's a little bit of oil spray inside the filter, which in the cage that I'll clean off. But here's the filter. I wanna show you this. So I'm just gonna take this here. I'm gonna go, this is, like I said, this is some of the most amazing air filter oil. It actually won our shootout back when I was at Dirt Rider magazine. And you saw how dirty it was when I started. And I'm gonna go like this with just, it wasn't treated with anything. I didn't spray it with anything. Right now all I'm doing is taking water and not even agitating it just yet. But with that, this thing's almost coming completely clean. And I'll take it in and use some warm water in a second and clean it out. But without even agitating it, there's no stuff. This is kind of where we at. So I got the big pieces off because I don't want that dirt going down into my sink too much. But look at that, nice and easy. So the only like residue you see is kind of from where the oil had sprayed. This oil will stick on there. So this is where the oil leaks out of from here and gets on it. But that's that, and I'll take it in and use some hot water. So this is what it looked like after just the regular hose. And so now I'm gonna use some hot water, and I'm gonna need to use a second hand here, so I will take it off the thing, but I'll leave the bin of the thing here. But you see how the oil actually stays in there. I have to wipe that off. But whatever they're using on this water washable synthetic air filter oil, and it's kind of like a brown color, the oil. It used to be day glow green. But it is amazing that it just cleans out, and the filter is like a brand new filter when you're all done. So this is the filter. This is what it looks like when it's all done, and this is the stuff. It's the Rockwell Eco Foam, synthetic, water washable, easy to use. And I tell you what, that's not marketing hype, that's the truth. So that was just like you just saw in the video. And I'm gonna take the screen here, wipe this thing down. I'm doing like that. Around here on the back, there's a little oil mist. And everybody wonders, like, where is that coming from? Well, it comes out of this little hole. At high RPMs, there's essentially a mist. And I'll show you when I wipe this, you'll see a little bit there. And I usually do that if there's anything. I just pull it up and clean it out. So that's what it is. But the oil level, so on this bike, which is a 2020 with about, I think it has 7,000 or 8,000 miles. When I started this trip, it was up at the high end of the circle, right at the top. And now it's there. That's 1,200 miles of riding. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the oil out now. I broke those loose so I could do this one-handed. Hopefully I don't spill all over the floor. Here we go. Oh, baby, there we go, nice. That magnet stuck to the thing there. That's pretty premium. And get this guy out here. I'll pull it out and see what it looks like. It definitely needs to be changed. I'm not kidding you that it's time. And so that's what we have there. I'll grab that thing there and show you in a second. But I always like to check this guy here, and then I'm gonna pull the one filter out on the other side as well. But clean, no real issues there, no problems. Put that there. Take this guy back off. Not a lot of stuff on that, the magnet here. So, all good. And then if I go to the other side, and then there's this guy here, the main filter, which I usually do every other oil change. But if you're ever curious about how your bike's doing, how the engine life, is what I will do is I will let this thing dry out. I'll just set it on top of a paper towel. And then I cut it open and peel open the pleats, and I look in between those little grooves in there. And if you start seeing a lot of stuff, that'll tell you that something's going wrong, but I don't expect anything to go wrong. So that's about it, other than filling this thing back up with oil, and probably gonna take my suspension to have it serviced, because it's probably time for that too. Oh yeah, it's time on that guy there. That chain guide is gone, so I'm probably gonna replace it with something better. And I was always keeping an eye on the old master link there, as it was, you can see, because that's wearing, and I should probably get the whole kit to replace this and stuff, but that's all she wrote. So that's what it takes to re-prep a bike after 1,200 miles. Next, we're buttoning it all up. This cool little thing that screws right in here, so it makes it a little bit easier. Although, I'm noticing with the tank, the big tank, it's not fitting in there as good as it should. So I wrote down it's been changed, and then I'm pouring some oil in there. And he goes, Jimmy, what kind of oil are you using? Well, I'm using oil. If I had an oil sponsor, I'd tell you. But yeah, just filling her back up, ready to run. Always check out dirtbiketest.com for more good information like this. Watch out for that donkey. Maybe go to one of his riding schools, and we will see you out on the trail.